What are you doing?
I'm posting false information on the web.
Why?
It's fun. Someone picks up a strand of false information, spreads it around, and before you know it, a panic is created. Then you just sit back and watch the chaos.
So the World Corp video ended up doing pretty well. I was originally expecting it to be met with a lot more cognitive dissonance from people unable to let go of the version of reality they'd created for themselves in the last decade, but people seem to be generally receptive to it, so I'm grateful for that. There are a couple things I wanted to include in that video that I either forgot or were cut for time. The first is that a few people took the video as a full-on moral defense of those involved in World Corp, which I can understand to a certain extent, but it's far from the case. Now, I'm no Sam Hyde fan, and pretty much all the characters involved seem morally dubious at best. I just think getting up in arms over videos filmed over a decade ago, when by all accounts those involved were unhurt by the events shown in said videos, is a little silly. The other omission pertains to another video that's said to be connected to, well, these guys here. I was initially just going to address it by stating it to be fake in a single sentence, but the more I looked into it, the more I decided it deserved its own separate video. The clip in question is part of a topic I like to refer to as the Gotye conspiracy. Now, you might be saying, what the hell is this? I've never heard of no Gotye conspiracy. Now you're just making shit up. And you very well may not have heard of it. This whole mystery has minimal presence on YouTube and mostly gets brought up on Twitter, Instagram, and God forbid TikTok. Quick aside, I know it's more than a little passé to say TikTok bad, but it really is depressing just how much this kind of stuff is able to prosper without being challenged in any way on the platform. Like, for instance, if somebody presents the World Corp videos as real on Twitter or Reddit, you can bet there will at least be a decent chunk of commenters who will at the very least mention their origin. But on TikTok, you see very little, if any, of that, and if you do, they'll usually be well outnumbered by those who believe in it hook, line, and sinker. And when taken into consideration, it's arguably the dominant social media platform of today's youth. It's more than a little blackpilling. But I digress. So what exactly is the Gotye conspiracy? Well, in 2012, a crude reenactment of the music video to the hit song Somebody I Used to Know by Gotye was uploaded to YouTube, featuring a man in a pink wig singing to a very uncomfortable looking child. Due to the bizarre nature of the video, as well as its rather elusive origin, it would become subject to many conspiracy theories regarding its true origins. From a real-life child disappearance, to its supposedly being in the Epstein files, to the man in the video being either Jean Podesta or Stephen Colbert. Yeah. Are any of these theories true? Short answer, no. As for the long answer, well... In 2011, Australian singer Gotye took the world by storm with his breakout single, Somebody I Used to Know. I can't say I've ever heard another one of this guy's songs, but for what it's worth, it remains a pretty good track. To say it was massively successful would be an understatement, as in the United States alone, it spent 8 consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and was #1 on the year-end chart for 2012. It's so universally beloved to this very day that when Doechii tried to steal the instrumental in order to create what many, myself included, would refer to as the worst song ever created in 2025, we all acted like it was some untouchable piece of high art as opposed to a song you hear on the speakers at Walmart. Equally iconic was the music video, of which there were no shortage of parodies made all throughout the 2010s. It was anything you could think of. Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Lego, everyone from Saturday Night Live to College Humor to The Key of Awesome were getting in on it. There was even a really bad Your Favorite Martian cover. But one parody stuck out from the others for being rather off-putting, to say the least. Uploaded by user Foxio Dristle on March 14th, 2012, the video depicts a low-budget reenactment of the original music video featuring a middle-aged man in a pink wig and a seemingly distressed child in the roles of the original performers, complete with shoddy face paint to boot. Now, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. This video is completely innocuous, but in all honesty, I'd be lying if I said that without any context, this video isn't just the slightest bit uncomfortable. It isn't overtly creepy, but it's definitely got an odd vibe to it, and I can almost see why it was subject to so many conspiracy theories. Now, there's really no documentation of the original upload with the exception of a single snapshot on the Wayback Machine from the day that it was uploaded, but we can infer that the video garnered some moderate attention, finding its way onto Reddit, as well as the now defunct music news site chartattack.com. A post from their Tumblr regarding the video reads as follows, quote, "It was only a matter of time before people started using his Gotye's music to soundtrack the videos of their awful decisions, to be uploaded to YouTube and shot into space by Google, preserving them for all eternity. And right on schedule, we have a bizarre minute-long YouTube clip of some really poor judgment," unquote. So clearly the initial reaction to the video was less concern and more cringe, which was likely the original intent. However, somewhere along the line, the original video was deleted and the whole thing faded into obscurity. It wouldn't be until April of 2020 when the video somehow resurfaced, and Twitter users, part of a little group you may have heard of called QAnon, began claiming the video was related to Pizzagate, and that the man in the video was none other than John Podesta, who, if you don't remember, was Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman during the 2016 presidential election. Now, many of these tweets are completely lost to time, as they were made back when that whole section of the site was a fringe minority as opposed to being front and center, but the general consensus was that the boy in the video was a victim of child trafficking and was forced to participate in the video by his kidnapper, in this case Johnny P, before likely being the victim of some horrible unspeakable acts when the camera stopped rolling. There have even been a few people claiming to have seen a lost extended version of the 54-second clip where the child starts crying at the end. People claiming that a video supposedly involving John Podesta harming a child has a much longer, darker version in existence that conveniently just so happens to be lost to time? Now, where have I heard that one before? But the strangest theory to come out of this whole situation is that the man in the video is late-night talk show host Stephen Colbert. The reason being, yeah, I got nothing. The closest connection I can make is that John Podesta was on his show multiple times and that he was one of the most prominent figures to mock the whole Pizzagate scandal, making him a massive target to QAnon types, but outside of that, it seems like a little bit of a stretch. And make no mistake, I'm not going to bat for Colbert or anything. He's as much an unfunny hack as he is a puppet for the establishment itself. But let's be completely honest here. Most of the people who buy into this conspiracy already didn't like him for being a left-leaning comedian, and this sort of thing just makes their hatred for him feel more justified. Does he probably rape and eat babies? Yeah. Do we have any video evidence for it? No. You'd have to be pretty gullible to believe high-profile figures such as Colbert and Podesta would just let videos implicating them in horrific crimes such as these exist in any capacity online. If you compare both of the men's side profiles to the man in the video, this theory begins to fall apart even further, as they don't really look all that similar. Of course, this hasn't halted people from perpetuating this rumor to this very day, with some claiming the video itself can be found in the Epstein files. And naturally, when you question these people by asking for as much as the page number, they'll usually go completely silent. Or they'll ask Grok, and Grok will tell you that it's not in the files, and then they'll go silent. Suffice to say, this theory doesn't exactly have legs to stand on. Now, maybe if we had something concrete and verifiable, like a police report, or maybe an actual recorded child kidnapping case. Enter Benjamin Raposa, a young boy who went missing on his 7th birthday in the 2010s. He's said to have wandered from his oceanside home in the town of Kahakaha, Hawaii, while his mother and sister were unloading groceries. Sadly, to this very day, he has still never been found. Comparing the two side by side, Benjamin is an exact match to the boy in the video. Everything from the hairline down to the ears, the eyes, he's a dead ringer. We did it, Reddit. There's just one small, tiny, insignificant detail that doesn't line up. The video was uploaded over a year before he was actually born. Plus, he's reportedly autistic and non-verbal, which of course doesn't line up as the kid is seen singing in the video. So yeah, it's logistically impossible for the kid in the video to be Benjamin Raposa, and the Hawaii police would even come out with a statement denying the video's connection to the case. Now, this mostly fell on deaf ears with the conspiracy people, but many of those who did see the statement claimed it to be a cover-up on behalf of the elites. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you that this obviously isn't true, but if it was, why would there be a highly publicized missing child case in the first place if it was all orchestrated by a group of powerful individuals? Wouldn't it make more sense to cover it up completely instead of leaving behind a paper trail for internet sleuths to follow? But what do I know? Well, if the man in the pink wig isn't John Podesta or Stephen Colbert, and the boy isn't Benjamin Raposa, then who are they? And what the hell is the true story behind this video? To answer this, we have to go all the way back to the original upload from March of 2012, uploaded by Foxy O'Driscoll. It's categorized under comedy, the only tags are Dennis and O'Driscoll, and the description simply reads the Dens version. If we Google search for the username, we can find a Twitter account belonging to a woman by the name of Zoe O'Driscoll. The account is private, and I'm not going to go out of my way to stick my nose in this poor lady's business, but from the profile photo alone, we can recognize a rather familiar face. Furthermore, on March 7th, a week before the video's upload, she would post a reply to BBC radio host Joe Wiley that reads as follows, quote, "Thanks Joe, glad you liked it. It's my husband and son, but they refused to go viral. Sad emoji," unquote. A week later, on the 14th, she would post a follow-up tweet reading at Joe Wiley, "They've finally let me put it on after much persuasion. This makes me laugh," followed by the same YouTube link that can be found on the Wayback Machine as well as on that Reddit post. Joe Wiley would later retweet this post, and because of this, it can still be found publicly to this very day due to the way retweets functioned at the time. Going to Zoe's Facebook, we can see she appears to be married to a man by the name of Dennis O'Driscoll, with Dennis spelt with one N as not to be confused with the Irish poet. You might recall his name being in the tags of the original upload, as well as the description containing what we can infer to be a truncated version of his name, perhaps a nickname of sorts. Also on her page are numerous photos of his side profile, confirming him without a shadow of a doubt to be the elusive man in the video. And if the photos on Zoe's Facebook are anything to go by, I think we can deduce that the boy in the video is their son. At a cursory glance, we can see that she and her family are rather eccentric, and many of the photos on her page feature her in flamboyant outfits and colored wigs, not dissimilar to the one featured in the infamous video. Taking all this into account, I think we can positively conclude that the clip was made as nothing more than a goofy parody of an extremely popular and relevant music video of the time. And considering the father and son were apprehensive to upload the video in the first place, it's no surprise that the original upload's time on the internet was short-lived. Especially since the initial reaction came from places like the Chart Attack article labeling the father a pink-wigged maniac, not to mention the eventual reaction years later linking it to some of the worst crimes known to mankind. In conclusion, all signs point to the video being entirely innocent, whether you'd like to believe it or not. The kid is safe, the guy is just some ordinary British bloke, and the person behind the camera is nothing more than a quirky British mom. Or mum, I guess. I struggle to find the words to properly encapsulate why these kinds of conspiracies are so frustrating, mainly because I'd be repeating the same things I said at the end of the World Corp video, but at the end of the day, they're both very similar cases. Claims of a disturbing deep web video featuring a kidnapped child, a high-profile kidnapper, all without a single verifiable source to back any of it up. It's the same shit in a different toilet, just endlessly repeating the same few long-since debunked theories over and over again for years on end. To call it unproductive would be an understatement, and at a certain point it just becomes an active hindrance on making any sort of progress regarding the issues they supposedly pertain to. They will claim to be privy to the tactics employed by the elites or woke left or Epstein class or what have you, yet continuously prove themselves to be endlessly susceptible to any piece of misinformation that comes their way, so long as it feeds into their deep-seated desire for recreational outrage. It is perfectly fine to admit when you're wrong about these kind of things. I just strongly implore you to do your own research, as none of this info was remotely hard to find unless you consider a simple non-Grok assisted Google search too daunting. And it should go without saying not to harass or interrogate anyone brought up in this video, as it's abundantly clear they've chosen privacy and understandably want nothing to do with the conspiracy. The kid is completely fine. He's an adult now, and there's nothing to worry about regardless of what some internet detectives or armchair psychologists will tell you. But anyway, follow my Twitter, join my Discord, check out my Instagram, and I'm out.